World Environment Day highlights how much we all rely on nature and on our planet's health. The quality of the water we drink, the food we eat, and the air we breathe all depend on protecting the natural world. But the environment is facing unprecedented perils caused by human activity. 1 million species are at risk of extinction. Oceans are under stress. Air pollution is claiming 7 million lives every year and damaging children's development. Many air pollutants also cause global warming, and climate change is an existential threat. In my recent visit to the South Pacific, I saw firsthand the severe and worsening impacts of the global climate emergency. There is no time to lose. This is the battle of our lives. We must win, and we can. Solutions exist. Tax pollution, not people. Stop subsidizing fossil fuels. Stop building new coal plants. People everywhere are demanding action. On World Environment Day, let us heed their call. Thank you.
The United Nations is aware that the protection and improvement of the human environment is a major issue, which affects the well-being of the people and economic development throughout the world. Since it began in 1974, the World Environment Day has grown to become a global platform for public outreach, widely celebrated in over 100 countries. Every 5th of June provides an opportunity to broaden the basis for an enlightened opinion and responsible conduct by individuals, enterprises, and communities in preserving and enhancing the environment. The World Environment Day is organized around a theme that draws attention to a particular pressing environmental concern, and for 2019, the theme focuses on Beat Air Pollution. The World Environment Day has a different host country where the official celebrations take place. The focus on the host country helps highlight the environmental challenges it faces and supports worldwide efforts to address them. This year's host is China. Approximately 7 million people worldwide die prematurely every year from air pollution, with about 4 million of these deaths occurring in Asia Pacific. The theme for 2019 is, however, drawing the attention of governments, industries, communities, and individuals to explore renewable energy and green technologies and improve air quality in cities and regions across the world. According to air pollution facts from the United Nations, 92% of people worldwide do not breathe clean air. Air pollution costs the global economy $5 trillion every year in welfare costs. Ground-level ozone pollution is expected to reduce staple crop yields by 26% by 2030. In all of these, most African nations are struggling to implement the UN action to protect the earth and persons, and Nigeria is not an exception. Polobubo is a riverine community of the Ijaw ethnic extraction in Delta State, south-south of Nigeria. Polobubo also plays host to oil facilities belonging to international oil giant Chevron Nigeria Limited. This community is not new to pollution as a result of oil drilling activities, but this particular carbon surfacing from a burning wellhead for many days now is one that calls for serious attention. The old and the young are caught in this pollution, a situation that leaves their health in danger.
Well, we have a meeting that will come up on the 6th. But we had another emergency yesterday that the shoot has gotten to the ground and the shoot is falling like rain. Whenever it rains, that the shoot is full of the community, and the community cannot drink water. Even you can see the river is full with the soot, and the fishes that they cannot, even the air because the people cannot breathe. Even you can see most of them cannot get nearer because of the fume that is coming from there. We cannot withstand it. So even this morning we have spoken to Chevron. They are giving one excuse or the other. So our people health are in serious that even their lives will be threatened. Yes, we have come for an eyewitness. And also have said you too, you can say it, and we cannot go cloud. So government and Chevron should set medical aid immediately to the communities, and the community should be evacuated from this area so that there should be no explosion.
Fishing is the major occupation here, but aquatic life is threatened, and so the demand for a cleanup.
Now I'm telling the public and the Chevron's body that now their gas wellhead is now on fire. This brings a serious disaster to the community, Polobobo. Now you can see that the burning of the wellhead and also the gas flare, they are now affecting the community seriously. Even when you come to the community, you cannot stay in the community any longer. Now, the people are now finding other ways to reside now. And this will bring a very disaster to the community.
This came out from my fan. And if you add water to it, it has this oily composition. So it's really not safe. Don't get my face. It's really not safe.
In 2016, soot was first discovered in Rivers State, also in the south-south region of Nigeria. A health hazard staring residents in the face.
Can you see that? This is what we've been breathing in for over 1 year. Look at that spot, look at that end, look at the tissue, which is white. Wash my hand. This is what we're breathing in. This has been going on since last year, and nobody wants to do anything about it, not even the government.
Protest after protest were staged to get the government's attention.
We have, over the times, complained, gone out, took a walk, a protest, written letters, and to various levels of government, different agencies of government, to make sure that this menace called suit is put to an end. But unfortunately, in recent times, we've seen that there's been an increase, which makes us to have a strategy meeting, the leadership of the Stop the Suit group, to think about the next step that we're going to take. And then we have agreed that what we can do, having written many international organizations, is to force a class action. What this means is that we are not seeking help locally anymore. We are now seeking help internationally from foreign bodies and foreign countries where we think that they have the capabilities and the wherewithal to help us.
After 5 months of intensive study of the soot in the atmosphere in Port Harcourt and its environs by environmentalists and other experts set by the Rivers State government, the state governor Nyesom Wike gives a marching order for the implementation of the report. According to him, the committee, which is made up of environmentalists, doctors, representatives of the oil majors, security agencies and the civil societies, is to ensure full commitment to achieve measurable results.
I have told the chairman, who was the former Commissioner of Environment, to make sure that everybody gets the report and you quickly move into action and see how Rivers people will see some changes. As a government, we owe our people that responsibility for their safety in terms of good environment and health. Not only security as per physical security. This is even worse than the other aspect of security. This can cause cancer, it can cause so many things. And people can be dying, you wouldn't know that this is what has led to it. So as a government, we are very much concerned that whatever we can do, we have to do it. We don't need to wait for the federal government to assist us. But let me plead with you, let's give this all sense of commitment.
Many oil-rich communities in the Niger Delta region are not new to pollution caused by activities of oil companies, which they play host to. According to a UN report, the devastating oil spills in the Niger Delta over the past 5 decades will cost $1 billion to rectify and take up to 30 years to clean up. The UN Environment Programme, UNEP, had announced that oil firms systematically contaminated a 1,000 square kilometer area of Ogoni land in the Niger Delta, with disastrous consequences for human health and wildlife. In Imo State, southeastern Nigeria, top government functionaries, environmentalists and Imo indigents gather in Owerri, the state's capital, to commemorate the 45th World Environment Day.
Air is one of the major media that is polluted because air is the natural sink for most gases. And then air pollution, if we borrow what I've just said about pollution, is any intervention that compromises quality of air to the extent that it harms life rather than preserve it. Having said that of what air pollution is, then typologies of air pollution that are distinct to specific geographies. If you go to for quality of life, it has problems with aesthetics. In marketing of tourism, for instance, one of the biggest issues you market is not even physical features. You market the bright sky, you market clean air. That's what a city sells. That's the selling point of a city. So aesthetics is important. Political considerations, yes, because air pollution can become a highly politically charged issue, particularly when there are transboundary issues where you say my neighbor is polluting the air, and it happens between countries. And that also makes air pollution even a matter of international diplomacy and international relations.
Governor Emeka Ihedioha says environmental protection is a major thrust of his administration, a deviation from the previous administrations.
The theme of this year's celebration, air pollution, speaks volumes of global concerns on hydrocarbon emission, clean air and proper waste management. I therefore call on Ndimo to preserve what is left of our forests, as well as plant trees like I've done today. I also call on every Imo resident to plant a tree today. For every Imo citizen, at least a tree should be planted annually. At least a tree should be planted annually. When you plant 10, you have complied with our wish. For this annual global platform, which educates the people on the need to preserve the environment and acceptable human conduct with regards to our ecosystem. Finally, we shall embark on an aggressive waste to wealth program. We shall take appropriate steps to preserve and upgrade the Nnekedes Zoological Garden. Our administration is determined to return Imo State to its glory as the cleanest and most environment-friendly state in Nigeria.
Consequently, matching words with action, the governor and his deputy plant a tree at the government house.
That the governor of Imo State
He visits the dump site at Relief Market area in Owerri, promising to relocate the refuse dump. Ojota and its environs in Lagos State witnessed the worst air pollution in 2018 when billows of smoke covered the air at the famous dump site. Government denied setting the dump site on fire, but claims there are plans to shut down the site in order to comprehensively address waste management. The past government had hinted that it has been capping the refuse dump with latrine to douse the fire and stop the emission of smoke. residents continue to inhale the emission for weeks. Year after year, this dump site, established in 1992, expands, sharing space with residents, a health hazard to its neighbors. An environmental expert, Anthony Okoye, blames the federal and state governments for the continuous pollution in the country. He insists the environment will keep suffering as there is yet to be a political will to change the narrative.
The World Environment Day, the global theme is air pollution. Air pollution, clean air is a human right. According to World Health Organization, air pollution is now the most a serious contributor of a health problem. So in Nigeria here, we have several things that causes air pollution. One, we have industrialization. Two, we have transportation. Three, we have poor supply. And then other smaller ones, but these are the major ones. So in the industrialization, we have industries that are producing, we're happy, we are growing, we are a developing country. But then again, there's need for them to know, because most of the industrialists don't know the aspect of the national regulation that they need to know, that will enable them to understand that there are things they should do and things they shouldn't do. They don't know it. And NESDRA themselves, I don't know whether it's because of the leadership. They need to do the needful to enable those people to know. For instance, each industry should have a hard copy. They must have a hard copy of the national regulations. All of them should have it, so that they will be compelled to know what they should do. Then, if the problem, like they say, is lack of the technology, lack of the finance to install the needful, the equipment that they use, for instance, in air pollution now, we have retrofitted abatement equipment. It's expected that the leadership should liaise with some countries like China that can do something that will suit our Nigerian environment, something that they will use to reduce the pollutant load of the emissions that's being released into the atmosphere. These are small things that we need to do. For instance, in Niger Delta, we have gas flaring. We've been talking about gas flaring for a long time. We keep postponing and shifting the dates. Gas should not be flared. If we flare gas, so much air pollutants is being added into the environment that exacerbates climate change and global warming. So that's it. That's for the industry. Then talk of transportation. The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, they pointed out that we have around 11.7 million vehicles in Nigeria. This excludes the keke and the Okada, all these ones. So you can imagine, and in Nigeria here, most times because of poverty, people go buying vehicles that are fairly used, unlike developed countries, and that's what is expected. But then again, the hardship now is making people not to be able to maintain the cars, so that to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, NOxes, and other gases that are inimical to the environment that is being released when a poorly maintained vehicle is on the road. So that's for transportation. You can imagine the amount of gases that's being evolved in this country every day as a result of poorly maintained vehicles.
The associate professor at the Nnamdi Azikiwe University also highlights the causes of air pollution in the country.
For instance, another example, if you go to schools, so many private schools, most parents, they want to come and carry their kids from school to and from school, and where we have school buses. So let's say now 400 parents of children come to pick their kids every day for 5 days in a week. Now, if the bus, one of the buses, releases like 10 cm cube of gas, that means, of pollutants, that means 10 times 4 for the whole 4 buses. That's 40 cm cube of gas, different pollutants. But if 400 parents, either the father or the mother, comes to school to pick the school to and fro, the same 10 cm cube of gas times 400, so it's 100% increase in the amount of pollutant gases released into the atmosphere. So these are the things, small things we need to consider while talking of this air pollution. The last but not the least, because we have a lot of causes, it's like poor power supply in Nigeria. it's been there lingering. The problem of power has been lingering for a very long time. Yes, things are being done. Billions of money is being spent all this while. But then, what is the effect? The cause is that this power supply, for instance, has led to importation of so much different sizes and types of generator in Nigeria. You understand? I pass my neighbor to I'm a big neighbor. All of them, and you can imagine consider like at least like 75% of Nigerians have generator. You know what I'm saying? Either in their house, or in their homes, or in their offices, or in their shop, because these things are necessary for them to function. So you can imagine the amount of gases that's being released on daily basis from Monday to Monday. The churches too have their own. On Sunday it's working. So if there is something that government needs to do, government should please make power to be stable so that less people will use fuel. And then I said the last but not the least, conclusively, tree planting. We don't plant trees the way we ought to plant trees. We cut 10, we hardly plant 1. But the natural thing is to cut 1 and plant 2. We don't cut trees, and there's nothing in planting trees, absolutely nothing. In fact, somebody was telling, we had a World Environment Day in Athens here. It was well celebrated, and I was a speaker. Somebody pointed out that for universities, if university will say yes, we are graduating you in character and learning, and then you must have to tell us how many trees you planted from year 1 to final year. I don't see nobody will punish any student or a lecturer or a professor who goes to plant a tree. If you want to plant a tree, they will choose when we plant a tree. Let us form the habit of planting trees so that it will be. In fact, let's make it a law. In university, you must have to graduate. In year 1, you plant a tree. Final year, you see where your tree is without graduating. These are some of the little things. It doesn't take, there's no rocket science in all this.
Mr. Okoye decries the lack of implementation of policies formulated by the federal government towards the protection of the environment. He, however, tasks the federal government through the Ministry of Environment, NESRIA, and other allied bodies to be bold about issues concerning the environment.
One thing is for government to have an agency, ministry, and underlying ministries in the states. Another thing is for it to be effective. Today we have Ministry of Environment and line ministries, the state ministries. Then equally we have NESRA, National Environmental Standard and Enforcement Regulation Agency. That agency is the environmental watchdog. Yeah, they've existed for some years now, but then an appraisal, a sober and objective appraisal of the agency's output yet. It's not there. It appears they are dawdling. It's not as if they don't have competent hands. But then I don't know whether they are not doing the thing they ought to do the way they ought to do it, because it's an enforcement arm of the environmental sector. And as such, for instance, an empirical work that we did sometime shows that only 3% of Nigerians are aware of NESRA, know what NESRA is and what their role is. And it's not that, just unlike NAFDAC, when you had NAFDAC then under the acronym, any baby you see, any businessman you see, even literate or illiterate, they know about NAFDAC. Today, so many people don't know about NESRA. And I launched a new DG has been appointed. We're watching to see whether he will take the bull by the horn, because it's not about bureaucracy, it's not about office work, it's a field work. You make your workers, you direct them on what to do, you take the bull by the horn and do the needful. It's not as if other DJs will be doing something. They are doing, but they are not doing what they need to do. Sorry to say it, but that's just the truth. We need a very powerful, passionate, and a strong environmentalist who will man that agency. They ought to be in the field to do the needful. Otherwise, no matter how much you spend in environmental protection, it will amount to nothing if there is no enforcement.